Hello,
Hi,
my
I'm
name is
Masa
Masa Nakama,
and
I grew up in Riverside.
My family is
I'm
deaf,
from a deaf family,
and today I'm going
and
to
I
talk
want
to you
to tell
about
you
my
about
favorite
my
hobby,
hobbies.
which is
I
watching
really
movies.
enjoy watching movies.
I've done it my
And
entire
growing up,
life.
that was my favorite pastime.
I love the visual
Because
aspect of
I would
movies.
see
I would
my
watch
parents
them with the
talking about the
captions and
movies, and then I
retell the
would watch
stories
it
to my
with
parents.
captioning.
I've done it my entire life.
And there are two movies
Today
I'll
I'm going
talk
to talk
about.
to you about two films,
The
The
first one
Goonies
is The Goonies,
and Moulin Rouge.
and the second one is Moulin Rouge.
First I'll talk about The Goonies.
The
Which
Goonies
is a story that takes place in a
about
town
a group
of
of
friends who are rejected by their peers. They all hang out at this house,
at their house,
which is about to be demolished.
And they wanted to find a way to
save
their home.
When they find a treasure
and they found
map.
a treasure map.
And on that treasure map,
and thought that perhaps
they wonder
could
if they
find
might
the
be able to
hidden treasure,
find gold
the
and
gold
diamonds
the
and
jewels.
whatnot. So they go on an adventure.
They traveled
where
under
they find
the
a house
which
that's the
then
entryway
led them
to get
down a
to
path
the treasure.
where there were
They're
these
pursued
three bad guys
throughout
who would chase after
by
them.
three bad guys.
And I really
I
enjoyed
always
the
loved
action
this
in the
show.
movie.
When they get to the treasure,
When they got
which
to
is actually
a
in a
cave,
pirate
they ended
ship,
up at a pirate
they
ship.
find indeed
And
that
that's
there
where
is
they found
treasure
the
there with
money
money
and
and
the
everything
treasure.
else. At which point they have
And
to
they
fight
were
the bad
trying
guys
to
off.
hide it from the three bad guys.
And they indeed
when they got
save
back
their home,
to their
save
home,
their
they
family because
gave
they're able
the
to give them the
treasure
money
to
from the
their
treasure
family
that they found.
and were able to
That's
save
one of
their
my
home.
favorite movies because
And I
growing
like that
up
movie
I often
because
felt
growing up
isolated.
I felt very alone.
I wanted to have
wanted,
friends around me. I wanted to have a
other
group
deaf
and a clique
friends
to hang
and
out with.
to have
And I
the
never
riches
felt
too.
like I did, which is why I like that movie so much.
The second
The other movie I'm going to
is
talk to you
Moulin
about
Rouge,
is Moulin
or Red
Rouge,
Circle.
which takes place in Paris, France, in the early 1900s.
In 1900, I believe.
It's the story of a woman
There was a
who works in a brothel
who was a prostitute
and does the cha-cha.
and a cha-cha dancer. And she thought that this
She meets
guy
a man who
was
she believes
the owner
owns
of the
the place
establishment, and so
and
she would
flirts with
flirt
him.
with him. And
But
it turned
then
out
she
he was just
realizes
the
that
writer
he's
of the
not
show.
the owner, that he indeed is
didn't want to
the
fall
one
in love
who
with him,
writes the
however,
plays.
so she
And by this point, she's
focused
already
her
fallen in
attention
love with him.
then on a
But
duke
diverts her attentions to the
and tried
Duke
to fall
because
in love
he's
with
the actual
him.
owner of the
And
place.
so it was somewhat of a love
this
triangle.
becomes a love triangle between the three of them.
That movie had a lot
In
of
this
music
movie,
in it. It was
I
quite
like the
dramatic,
music,
and I
I
enjoyed
like the action
colors,
and the dancing.
and I was fascinated
Although
with
I'm
it
deaf,
because
I
do
really
enjoy
do
music,
enjoy
even though
the
I'm
music
deaf,
in the
I could
film,
read the captions.
and I like to read the
lyrics
lyrics that
really
are on
struck
screen.
me. And
The
in
female
the end,
character
she was
falls
at death's
gravely
door. She
ill,
was
although
very
nobody
ill,
knows it.
But she didn't want anyone
And
to
at the
know
very
that she was
end,
dying.
she decides
So
she doesn't want
she
to be with
decided
the
she
Duke
didn't want to be
after
with the
all.
Duke
She really
anymore.
wants to be
She
with the
wanted to be
writer
with the
because
writer.
she's fallen head over
And
heels
she was
in love
happy
with
for a
him.
while.
The writer
but then
at this
she felt
point
very ill.
does everything that he
and
can to take
unfortunately,
care
in
of
the
her,
end,
but
despite
unfortunately she dies.
the writer's best efforts, she died.
I like this movie
But the
because
moral
I
of
like
the
the
story was
idea
that you can
that you
love
never know.
and be
You
in
might
love.
be able to really
And
meet someone
for me,
and
that
fall
had an
in love
impact
one
because
day.
I'd like to fall in love someday after I meet somebody.
You said you related to the Goonies movie because you felt so isolated. Your parents were deaf. You went to the school of the deaf. Why did you feel so isolated?
I did not
I actually
go to
didn't
the deaf
go to the school for the deaf in
actually
Riverside. I was
mainstreamed.
mainstreamed.
I did
Although my
have
parents
deaf
are
parents,
deaf, my
but
mother wanted
put
me
in an
in
oral school
a
because she thought
mainstream
it would
school with
benefit
an oral
me.
program for my own
Everyone
benefit.
at home signed,
We could
and so she
sign
thought
at
the speech would
home and
benefit
whatnot,
me.
but she wanted me to have
But
the ability
the
to
kids
lip read,
stayed away from me. They didn't
which is
want
also,
to
I think,
socialize
why I
with me,
felt
so
so
I did feel
isolated
very
growing
alone.
up because I didn't have many friends.
So you grew up in Riverside where the school for the deaf is, but you didn't go to the school for the deaf?
Not
I didn't
Riverside.
actually
I
grow up
actually
in
lived
Riverside.
in
I grew
Ontario,
up
which
in
is near
Ontario,
Riverside, but no one
which
knows
is
where
near
that is, so I say Riverside.
Nobody knows where
but I actually
Ontario
grew
is,
up
which
in
is why I always
Ontario.
say I'm from Riverside.
When you went to your mainstreamed classes, did you use interpreters?
Yes, I
did.
did. I had interpreters in
for my
English and
and math classes, and then
The
the other classes
rest
were in the
of my
deaf
classes
program,
were with
so
the other
signing-
students
the
in the deaf
instruction was
program.
in sign language.
If as an adult you could go back in time, would you go to the mainstream school or a school for the deaf? And why?
Again, I grew up in a mainstream setting until I went to high school. Then I went to the deaf
residential
school.
school for high school, which was
And
a
it was
great
definitely
experience.
a good experience.
If I could go back, do I wish my
do
parents had
mom
put me in the school for the deaf earlier? I do. But that said,
I spent 2.5 years
the 2.5
at the deaf
years that I
school,
had
and
there
it felt
really
like home there,
felt
like I grew up there.
I'd grown up there.
Do the movies you love have a more personal, deeper message for you? Why do you relate to them so strongly?
Well, with the first one,
I like the
even
idea
if
that you're
you're
not
one of the
alone. You're not
rejects,
the
you
only
can
one.
find
That
friends
fear of
who will be
rejection
loyal
isn't
to you,
necessary. That you
for life.
have hope for the
and then
future.
the second movie,
And that regardless of who you love
at first,
or maybe if you fall in
can
love with one
others.
person, you might actually
So
love
it's not just a
more
done
than
deal
one
with the first
individual
person.
across the
Things
course
will
of your
change
life.
in the future, and you can change the ones you love. I think that's the message.
Do you have any advice for parents with deaf children?
I do. Look at the programs there that are
Look
offered
at
and
what the
look at
program
your child.
offers your kids, and keep the focus on your
Talk
kids.
to those programs and really get them to teach
Get
you
them to
ASL
teach you signs so
together.
that you can work together.
That's
That would be my
advice.
piece of advice.